가주가 되고 싶은 이유요? 그야 당연히... 생각해본 적 없었네요. 어릴 적부터 집안 어른들이 바란 일이라서? 가씨 가문에서 태어나서? 심사가 끝나기 전까진 찾고 싶네요. 가문과 상관없이 제가 정한 가주가 되고 싶은 이유를.
Maybe the intervallo will cover more of that. Who knows? Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Akamac. This is Limbus Company. We have gotten to that point, and I should probably do something about it. 175 in Mersault. I should have done this beforehand, shouldn't I? And 175 in Sinclair. That's not Sinclair. Slightly overshot, but oh well. Takeoff module. Takeoff module. I'll save one of these takeoff modules for Honglu, and I'll use one for Mersault, I think. Because yes, we now have the ability to dispense, to outright extract the thumb identities. Although they're Eastern thumb identities, so that does explain why they're a little different to what we faced in Library of Ruina.
명령은 경청하고 있어요. 그저 감히 상급자와 눈이 맞지 않도록 시선을 아래로 둘 뿐.
I saw smoke for a second and I thought, wouldn't it be a wild twist if it turned out that Encore and the Thumb were working together? Because it made me think of the black aura for the Fell Bullet identity. But no, that's supposed to be the cigar.
세 번은 곱씹어보고 내게 말 붙이길 권장하지. 혓바닥을 잡아뜯는 건 오늘은 그만하고 싶고.
Is it flat out the same scene but from two different angles? Huh. Well, anyway, let's tackle this in order. If we look at Thumb Soldato Sinclair, he rolls a 9 max on his skill 1 and a 14 max on his skill 2, 15 on his guard. But hey, he can actually inflict tremor that sticks, provided he doesn't trigger a tremor burst. Sticky tremor here, standard tremor there. So he wants to hit with his skill 2 first. Only a 0 on defense level, but a +3 to his guard, +3 to his stab, and +2 to his skill 1. If we Uptie, raises his base speed from 3 to 5 to 3 to 6. His skill 1 gains a coin power conditional. It already has a maximum of 2. Wow. Let me math that out actually. So it rolls up to 13 just from getting him to Uptie 2. Wow. And a coin conditional here, maximum of 2, so he can get a +7, 14, 18! Wow. If target is 10 plus Tremor, Scorch, inflict burn count. We can't inflict Tremor Scorch though. Weird. Always active. Begin with Scorch Propellant Ammo. Oh, wait a minute. He doesn't actually start out with Scorch Propellant Ammo if he's only level 1. That's kinda silly. You know what? Testing. We have a smidge of power on hand at the moment. Let's take these into a test run. And then the chef. Put the chef in the background for a tiny bit of extra healing.
명 받았습니다.
Did I put them in the right order? I hope I did. Oh dear, tutorials I don't need. So we do start off with Tiger Mark round for Mersault, but we don't start off with Scorch Propellant for Sinclair.
받아볼 텐가. 이건 그렇게 서 있으니 목이 떨어질 수밖에.
Ooh, these low-grade enemies just aren't ready for this nonsense, are they? I put them in the wrong order, whoops.
받아볼 텐가. 그렇게 서 있으니 목이 떨어질 수밖에.
Clashball counter should take care of that.
피자 동정은 필요 없겠다. 자의 위치가 있어. 피자.
Well, you know, we might just keep hitting them too hard to do that.
그렇게 서 있으니 목이 떨어질 수밖에.
Oh right, we used the guard skill so he threw away his hat. That's how you know he's gotten serious.
완벽한 승리를 보고 드릴 수 있어 영광이네요. 분명 관리자님을 비롯한 상급자분들의 활약 덕분이겠죠.
Okay, so let's actually go back to that and check it out in detail. So if we uptie him, he goes from 3 to 5 to 3 to 6. He does gain his Scorch Propellant ammo now. If this unit spent Scorch Propellant ammo with skills or passives, gain damage up equal to the amount spent to a maximum of 3. When flipping a coin that spends Scorch Propellant ammo, while not having it doesn't cancel the attack, on hit effects for burn do not activate. Okay, so that does mean that he can still stick down burn with his ego, he just can't do it with his skill 3. And this gives him his combat passive. When one ally with the fastest deployment using ammo finishes their attack. This is an interesting thought. Does this count people that have no ammo left and are using attacks that can spend ammo? Or do they have to be specifically, they need to still have ammo and spend it in order to trigger this effect? Spend equal to the amount of total count the amount the ally spent. Supply them with the same amount of ammo as Scorch Propellant ammo. Can spend up to 3 ammo once per encounter. Supply 1 additional ammo they use if it's a thumb identity of a higher rank. If they have separate values for potency and count. So this is taking into account Solemn Lament Yi saying. They will be supplied at random. If count or potency is maxed out, supply whatever isn't. Skill enhanced, respect the thumb. And then if we look at the Mersault here, so he has an 11 by default on his skill 1. So if you pull him at the start of the game, you're already rolling nicely. 4 plus 3. So that's 9. Plus 4 is 13. Not fantastic, but still pretty decent. And then a flat out 4 plus 3 for his guard skill. And it does have a final power boost. So hang on. 6. Rolls a 10, which I guess is pretty nice for a Clashball counter. Or an 11 if they have some burn and tremor. And it does inflict tremor count on hit, so it can be a way to stabilize his tremor. But that's at the cost of losing his Tiger Mark rounds, because as we know, if equipping a defensive skill, spend all of Tiger Mark round or is staggered. reload 8 Tiger Mark rounds and gain an unrelenting spirit. If we spent 8 plus, convert this buff to unrelenting spirit Shin. So if he gets there by using up all of his ammo, then he's already going to go straight into the unrelenting spirit Shin. Anyway, that said, we actually want to see the Uptie. Identity Uptied. I didn't look at those stats, did I? So let's see. It gains a max 2 final power boost. So that's 3 plus 4. I mean, we just did this number. It'd be a 13. And this gains a plus 2 at the end, so 9, 13, 15. No change to here. I imagine it changed his speed around a bit, but I wasn't paying attention to that, sorry. Uptie again, from 3 to 6 to 4 to 6. We gain thruster compression, coin power plus 1 for every 8 sum of burn and tremor on the target. So let's crunch the numbers. At the moment, 12, 16. Add in a 6 that hits 22. At 3 plus scorched propellant ammo, base power plus 1. Ooh, so it becomes 16, but 17 if he has bullets. Then throw in the plus 6, so that's 18, 22, 23. Spend scorched propellant ammo. Deal extra damage if we did do that. Inflict tremor count, burn count, and amplitude conversion. Spend scorch, deal extra damage, inflict tremor count, and burn. If this unit spent another scorch propellant, deal extra damage, inflict tremor count, inflict burn, trigger a tremor burst. Which will be, it'll be Tremor Scorch. So we're going to lose a little bit of burn count. Trigger Tremor Burst, then reduce Tremor count by 1. If we did spend Scorch Propellant ammo, trigger it a second time. So that's 2 Tremor Bursts. So we'll have tremor count left over if we get all our hits off. Now the burn count, 2 burn count. The burn count will stabilize, unfortunately, so we need to hit someone already with burn in order to keep our progress, because the Tremor Scorch is going to knock it down a bit. Anyway, we gain a coin power boost to his skill 1, so that now rolls an 11, that's nice. Coin power boost to his skill 2, that now rolls 16, that's nice. And his backup passive. The fastest deployment order among using ammo finishes an attack. If we have fewer than half, regain half of the ammo capacity. And the nonsense about how they assign the ammo capacity. 4 resonance is a lot though.
무례하네요. 언더보스의 명령을 따르지 않았음에도 감히 숨을 쉬고 있다니.
Tales from the Promoted. New promotee assignment. Express your honest and plain feelings regarding your promotion below. Excellent, remarkable essays will be selected and published in the next month's monthly thumb-through issue, and will be positively reflected upon your next promotion review. Oh, that's just a... That's a dangerous game. Be honest, but also know that we're taking your promotion into account. Note, above instructions were designed with reference to page 1271 of the Thumb Introductory Manual, section How to Encourage Your Juniors. 1. I love listening to the pre-training lectures from our superiors. I always make sure to stand in the frontmost row whenever we line up for inspection to hear combat tips and etiquette lectures from the esteemed capo primos. Low-ranking soldatos like us are always prone to making so many mistakes, since we're still in the learning stage. But thankfully to the higher-ups who have taught us really well, I've not made a single mistake ever since I joined the Thumb. Oh, earlier, the reputable and respectable Capo Quarto, I don't dare write his esteemed name down here. Anyway, he gave us some excellent pointers and words of encouragement, so I think we can attribute much of our own growth to him. Unfortunately, I could not get a very good look at his face because it would be against etiquette to stare directly at a superior's face, but I think he is really a great person, with a cool cigar and all. 2. I enjoy getting my meals according to my station. It's very convenient how we get regular ration food at designated hours every single day. When my rank was just a primo, our designated meal hours were so much later than everyone else's that I felt like I was starving, but hey, I got used to it by my 3rd day here. I don't even feel hunger before it's my time to eat. When I was a kid, I always had access to food whenever, wherever I wanted, so sometimes I'd overeat or skip meals, which was probably not great for my health. But I've really been building some muscle thanks to the regimented life here, so that's pretty awesome, huh? 3. I enjoy the feeling of moving forward step by step. Not long ago, I used to spend most of my time with the propellant rounds cleaning duty, but I'm finally bestowed with a super important role. I'm finally on the ammo delivery duty for the esteemed capos in the field! Some of my comrades worry about getting dragged into a fight way above our pay grade and killed by some stray blade out of nowhere, but I don't quite agree with that sentiment. Wouldn't it be such a wonderful honor to get caught up in those legendary battles between people who are way above my station? Doesn't that just sound extremely lucky? I think I'd consider it a great honor even as I die. 4. I'm happy here, learning how to use a bayonet, familiarizing myself with the weapon alongside my comrades. It's a lot of fun being able to really use the actual genuine propellant rounds as I train myself how to use them. Just a few days ago, our training sessions consisted of shouting BANG! Moving a bit forward instead of firing live propellant bullets. Of course, all those trainings were extremely necessary. The booster jerked me forward really hard when I used it for the first time that it almost slammed me to the floor. It took me a while to get used to the sudden acceleration. Actually using the propulsion from the gun is vastly different from pretending there's a propulsion. It's kinda interesting how I can change the output mode to slashing too. I had no idea it was a thing back when I was a primo. The Thumb of the other regions apparently don't use weapons like these, so I guess these propelling slashes or powerful stabs are exclusive to us? These are moments when I feel so lucky to be part of the Thumb in the East. 5. I get so excited when I get to chop the rude and discourteous people to pieces, the kind of people who don't understand their place. Whenever I go out on a mission, we always seem to run into so many disrespectful people. At first I was kind of concerned and scared of having to hurt other people, but then I thought, if these people were a part of our organization, they would have long lost their jaws and tongues, and what have you with that attitude. How dare they raise their voices at us? This realization sunk this empathy thing to the depths of my heart. That allowed me to just carry out the missions as I'm told. I think this makes the Thumb the organization composed of the most upstanding people in the city, don't you agree? Bawling their eyes out, snot and all, hanging so pathetically onto our trousers, begging for their lives. I mean, that's just plain rude, isn't it? 6. I love following orders and doing things according to proper procedures. So it differentiates the Thumb from the other fingers. This kind of thing has to do with my 5th point. See, I really don't understand the other fingers whenever I get a chance to talk to them. I won't get too into it, in case I accidentally come across as though I'm disrespecting the esteemed officers of other fingers, but, well, I just want to say I'm very excited for the finger bow bell. And one last thing, the Thumb is where I can be special. I'm going to be someone special. A bigwig, an officer of the Thumb. I just need to put in honest work, diligently climbing the ladder. In a few years, I know I'm going to become someone really awesome. That's everything. Thanks for reading. Soldato 2 Sinclair. I had a bit too much fun making Sinclair maniacal there, but does he really need that much help? Okay, the final Uptie. Gives him clash power if the target has unique tremor. Deal extra damage for every sum of burn and tremor. If the target has unique tremor, base power +2. Ooh. Inflict 2 burn count if the target has tremor scorch. The downside is that if we have 10 tremor scorch, then we have 6 tremor, which means that the tremor burst is going to knock down one of those burn count. 5 plus 4. 3 plus scorch repellent ammo, base power +3, deal extra damage, convert the coins to unbreakable. Inflict 3 burn count. If this skill spent 3 scorch repellent ammo, trigger a second tremor burst. Okay, so it throws in an extra tremor burst. So the extra burn count picked up here, and the positive tremor count is knocked out. That's unfortunate. Also again, inflict 2 tremor count against enemies 4 times per turn, and he can finally contribute a pride resonance now. So if he guards, then he's probably doing it to give away his gun, his ammo, whatever. And here we go, Thumb East Capo 4. Wouldn't it be IV? Whatever. Speed 3 to 6, 4 to 6. Skill gained, Tangle Cleaver. 4 plus 4, so it rolls a 16. If this unit has Savage Tiger Mark round, activate something cooler. Spend Tiger Mark rounds, inflict tremor and tremor count and burn count. Convert to Tremor Scorch, trigger a Tremor Burst. If he spent a Tiger Mark round, then do it a second time, so he's going to be... He only gets a positive in his Tremor/burn count if there's nothing on the target already, otherwise it breaks neutral. But let's think about it. 16, if we have the bonus, then we gain a +1 to coin power, so that's 12 to 15. 19, so that's a nice number. Savage Tiger Slayer's perfected Flurry of Blades. Coin power +1, so again, let's number it. 5 coins plus 3. That's 15, so 17. But throw in a coin power, that's 5 coins times 4. It's a 22. Inflict tremor count, inflict burn count. Trigger an amplitude conversion, trigger a tremor burst. Twice. Darn it. So yeah, it's still breaking even. Okay, raise the base power for his skill 1 so he now rolls a 12. Or a 14 for the conditional. Raise the coin power for his skill 2 so it now rolls 16 or 18 with the conditional. And unlock his support passive. What's his basic passive? Just checking. When this unit has a Tiger Mark round, all his Tangle Cleaver become unbreakable. And +1 power for skill coins that spend Tiger Mark round. I don't know whether that applies when hitting people or when flipping coins. When we have Savage Tiger Mark round, all coins become unbreakable. But at 0, then it becomes only the things that spend his ammo. Skill coins that gain Savage Tag Mark gain 2 power, but only while we have rounds to spend. Yeah, you see where the confusion kicks in. Anyway, his support passive. The ally with the fastest speed that spends ammo deals extra damage on speed difference. If the effective unit lacks ammo, then it won't happen. It will activate if they have ammo and no rounds.
이 천퇴성도의 이름을 감추어야 한다는 점은 다소 아쉽지만 날개도 든 듯한 호랑이의 부요 소리를 내비칠 수 있으니 이 정도로 만족하지.
Is it going to be another form? I understand that this room may be disorderly, but I insist you sit anyway. Air rushes out of the leather chair. Its sound fills the empty, quiet room with its at once sophisticated and suffocating monumentousness. At the center of it all is the child, sitting with one leg over the other in an overbearingly assured manner. The room is practically decorated with mutilated bodies and disturbingly thorough spatters of blood, but he does not seem to mind it one bit. I trust you would find the present state of my office acceptable. The thumb treats lessons in manners with utmost seriousness. I have heard the stories indeed. I understand your request quite well. Or perhaps one might assume that this is also a prepared scene drawn with intent. But the person sitting opposite of him also cannot be underestimated. She simply smiles before producing a small piece of paper as though she were sitting in a normal, average room that was not painted top to bottom with the remnants of vicious violence. I did expect someone of higher station given the private one-to-one meeting request, but allow me to treat you with better manners. It seems that your station deserves as much. Apologies for my earlier effrontery, my lady. I am willing to self-mutilate according to the thumb's rules of respect as much as you would like. The paper she handed him seemed to have been a business card of sorts. The child gently took it from her hand and placed it in a fancy golden card holder with reverent care. Wait, who could be left to outscale him? Ryoshu, I don't know whether Ryoshu would count or not because she falls under the she has an identity from the Heisho pack, but it's from the previous season. Let's just assume that the overnight sweeping counts. You've got Utis, Ryoshu. In this season we have Rodian, Forced, Ishmael, although I sincerely doubt it's Ishmael. That's 5 female sinners, so that must mean that if... Unless it's someone we just haven't met yet and have no reason to, that would mean that Don Quixote, or... I feel like there's one other I'm forgetting. Alphabetical order. No, we have 6 sinners of each gender, so yeah, it would have to be a high-ranked Don Quixote. Well, it's of no interest to me whatever you would choose to do with yourself, but I understand that stopping you would also cause you some undue trouble. Do as you will. Oh, actually, fresh blood can really stain the clothes, unlike dried blood, so I would prefer if you didn't engage in self-inflicted corporal punishments. I am highly impressed by your lack of concern for the rigidity of the hierarchy and your considerate behavior befitting your nobility. You are someone deserving of proper respect indeed. It's nothing compared to what I am about to ask of you. The child's words convey a deep emotional gratitude, but his tone is flat and emotionless as a stone. And the person sitting opposite him speaks words that are gentle, but it is clear they shroud certain inscrutable intents. In this bizarre juxtaposition, the person continued to explain a plan of sorts, and by the time she finished wrapping up her elaboration, Even the ever stoic child could not help but furrow his brows at an almost imperceptible angle. While it may be discourteous, this is, after all, my office. I do not believe that my subsequent request would go against reason. May I have your permission to light a cigar? I don't mind. It's obviously a very premium cigar rolled from fine leaves. It should smell fragrant enough. Thank you. I appreciate your understanding, my lady. He trims off the tip of the cigar with a cutter, the sharp blade slicing through with ease. A smouldering faint ember lights up at its end. The child puffs out a plume of smoke in an exhalation that was more like a deep sigh. The conversation continues. So, to summarize your offer, you would like me to serve the role of a clan member in this family hierarch war of Hongwan on the side of the Shi family. She nods wordlessly. The child continues. And if the next hierarch is not one from the Shi family, decapitate the hierarch to be and plummet Hongwan into chaos. Wait. Whoa. That could be that woman from the other corporation. I don't remember her. I don't remember her home team is the problem. I am certain that my lady is discerning enough to understand that the ramifications of such an incident will inevitably spread beyond the political conflict between these families. Your request is that we are to become the blast of firepower, signaling the start to a wing war. Please illuminate me if my assessment is incorrect. That is not what I said. But even if such were the case, what about it? Or don't tell me, is this too much for your organization to handle? The child waits a moment before inhaling deeply from a cigar. That comes off as a disrespect, though. In that brief moment, the child most likely completed any and all calculations and simulations of what this situation entailed. Your higher placement on the hierarchy does not grant you the right to say to my face whatever comes to your mind. There is no such thing as too much for the thumb. Your statement has room to be interpreted as an expression of disrespect to the syndicate itself. And to do so would be to disrespect the esteemed underboss, meaning to punish you would not go against the tenets of our organization. I will now present before you an opportunity to claim that my interpretation was but a misunderstanding. Of course it was a simple understanding. The child seems to have won this bout of subtle yet palpable psychological warfare. He managed to make the opponent's eyelids flinch for the first time. Very well, then I will understand your proposition in a more literal manner. Then, please allow me to inquire about your preparation for the task at hand. And the child did not let this brief moment of weakness pass. Biting lightly onto his cigar, the child rose from his feet and grabbed a fistful of ammunition from his belt and placed them onto the table between them. We call them Tiger Mark rounds. The city makes it rather difficult to make liberal use of ammunition, but these are quite special even among them. Not to mention the cost for my subordinates' propellant ammo. In addition, I must also ask if you really are prepared to pay the price of letting me loose. Be assured, however, that once we are committed to a mission, we do make liberal use of ammunition. Take this into your consideration. Do you really think that the Shi family, one of the 4 great houses, has such a thing as monetary concerns? That is not the concern I am speaking of. My concern is about how you, someone who's not even from the Shi family, can mobilize such a significant amount of capital. Interesting. Doesn't my business card clearly state the name of the Shi family? It takes more than sitting around to earn the title of a capo. Well, okay. But what of it? Must I actually be a part of the family to meddle in their affairs? I'm sure you, of all people, should know. Ah, that blade. It has been forged into a rather fancy pedal, hasn't it? We will take the contract. Oh my, that's good news. I will send my underlings to share further details at a later date. Let us part this meeting for now. The child had clearly won that invisible fight, so what was it that turned the tables on him so easily? It is no surprise, of course. No one could have expected that she knew so much about the child, even down to his deepest secrets. Carmen? That doesn't make sense, but for some reason that just... Maybe it'll be explained in a later identity. Once the guest left, the office was silent again, save for the sound of the child exhaling plumes upon plumes of smoke at a uniform interval. She knows the origin of the Tiantui Star's blade. Then, is she also a Pinky? Maybe it was forced? No, it is possible that someone of her station could have heard hints or vague tales about the Pinky. It doesn't matter. If someone is this close by, I suppose I shall encounter them when the stigma burns hot. The Pinky cannot help but summon only those who are nearby. Besides, this is good work for the thumb and reasonable. More than anything, however, I think this will be fun. What a rare sense of anticipation. With clear, high-pitched noise of clinking metal, the spent bullet casings popped out of the child's blade. And a few seconds later, he lands. 18 Tiger Mark rounds spent. The child sweeps his belt and contemplates. Contemplating if he should use the Savage Tiger Mark rounds, the powers of which are greater than the Tiger Mark rounds. Of course, simply changing to a different type of ammunition doesn't immediately make him stronger. The power of the Tiantui Star's blade comes from the user, and his judgment call on when to use which bullet. When he must use which bullet. Jialan guards. So much for the protectors of the noble Jia family. They made for quite the disappointing task. The child probably didn't even have to use the Tiger Mark rounds to defeat them, but he reloaded the blade with Savage Tiger Mark rounds anyway. If this is all the fun they have to offer, I suppose I must find entertainment in the freedom of getting to swing this blade with abandon. The cost of his ammunition was coming from the client's pocket anyway. He would rather choose excitement over frugality. For the sum that the client brought, the foes I have faced thus far have been so tasteless. Perhaps she miscalculated. If she did not, then... Something stops the child. He looks toward the sound of her footsteps approaching from a distance. The approaching footsteps belong to a rather large group. The child instinctively sensed that. This was the moment he was hired for. Ah, they were running late. Wait! Nellie! What if it was Nellie who hired them? Ah, they were running late. Did the child know, one wonders? Then Hui drove me to relish this dance for but a moment. That, unbeknownst to him, his lips were twisted into a grin. Okay, so what would a 4th tier Uptie for him look like, I wonder? Increase the final power cap. Increase burn and tremor inflicted. Increase the final power cap by... Ooh, that actually doubles it. Okay. The final... inflict extra burn and tremor. Inflict extra burn count and tremor count. So, I think... That would actually more than break even with Tremor Scorch. That's nice. Increase the base power, so 5 plus 4, 17. And then add 6 because we raised the coin power cap there. 18, 23. Now the downside is that while we do increase our tremor and burn count infliction, it's also seeming to increase the tremor count to penalty as well. Up by 3, down by 3. And then we raise the base power here and the coin power bonus here. $18, throw in the coin power bonus. Actually, we are getting extra coin power from the special ammo, I think. Raise the final power for his clashable counter and the base and coin power. Deal extra damage on skill coins that spend Tiger Mark round. Inflict extra burn on skills that spend Savage Tiger Mark round. And increase the speed difference bonus, but before we go, let's just throw them once more at the very Lowbies. And put them in the right order this time.
대기하겠습니다. 명 받았습니다.
So then the rule I remember is that if you spend as much ammo as possible, you actually overheat. The overheat effect is what I'm thinking of. Overheat becomes way more expensive. I mean, so... Oh. Overheat. Base attacks lose clash power based on how many Tiger Mark and Savage Tiger Mark rounds he uses. If you go straight into his Savage Tiger Mark rounds, then at best you're going to get protection for all his missing HP. At 14 rounds, then it gives him extra damage. At 20 rounds, the max you get gives him increased damage against higher HP targets. But at the very least, it's going to boost his unbreakable skills. I think Mersault already killed him because he has extra SP.
현재 말씀하신 임무를 수행 중이에요.
Weak to slash, resistant to pierce. Resistant to pierce, weak to blunt. Oh, this is an unfocused encounter. This is one of those enemy and reinforcements arrive immediately encounters. I see. So we're going to be behind on skills the whole time. Let's be fair, these guys are way too wimpy to be able to get the full... These guys are too wimpy to be able to get the full combo on them. They'll die too quickly. Where did your HP regen come from? Let's go for 3 lusts so we can get Gregor's boost back up. Now the fun thing is that we do have Capote. This will give him... This one seems to work best with a burn team because it converts burn... Actually...
넌 위아래가 없군.
Where is it? So, inflict tremor by burn. Trigger a tremor burst. If this burst staggers the target, inflict burn count. But the point is that it's better to have lots of burn on the target which you can convert into tremor than to have lots of tremor because it just stays as lots of tremor.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
그렇게 서 있으니 목이 떨어질 수밖에. 단격발. 그렇게 서 있으니 목이 떨어질 수밖에.
They just aren't prepared for this sort of nonsense. Now, the advantage of mirror dungeons...
만드는 일은 많지 않지만 이번엔 그 귀중한 경우의 수에 들어맞았군. 잘 놀다 간다. 회수하지 않은 탄피는 팁이다.
Okay, so as I was saying, if we go back a bit... If we go to the mirror dungeons... Yeah. Because the banner is still active, they have infinite char, they have infinite rest bonus, so I can actually use them in both the Tremor team and the Burn team in my weekly runs and figure out which one I prefer more. I get the feeling though that they'll fit in more with the Burn team because, as I said, I feel like they can almost sustain Tremor on their own, so it just takes one simple Tremor gift to help them out with that. Whereas, it takes a lot more work for them to make up for lacking Burn team stats. But either way, until next time guys, take care. I'll see you all around.
꽤 소란스러운 밤이었는데도 햇빛 아래 멀쩡히 걸어 나오시다니 운이 좋았나 보네요. 하지만
생방송으로 찾아오는 의뢰의 지분이 높다는 것과 그것에 치아 2개를 담근 레드와인은 이 순간과의 좋은 마리아주다. 예술품에 가깝다고 할 수 있지. 최근에 거미집에 다녀왔더니 혼잣말이 방정 맞아졌나. 예술 같은 단어를 입에 올리는군. 앉은 자리에 맞는 말을 써야 엄지의 카포일 테지.